We're going to give our bee one more special attack, but before we do that, we're going to fix up the death and hit animations so that our bee can be hit multiple times, only in certain states, take damage, and then play an actual death animation. And then we'll crank up the health and add in that extra attack. Let's go to the bee's animator controller. Double click it and open it up, and the first thing I'm going to do is remove my transition from any state to bee blast. Let's make a transition from idle into the bee blast, and on that transition have our condition of fire. And the reason for that is that we're going to add another transition from any state into dead, and we don't want to go into bee blast if we're already dead. So we've got a transition into our bee blast there. Let's add in our hurt animation next. So we'll take our hurt animation and just drag it down below idle and move. I'm going to make a transition into hurt from idle and from move, and then make a transition out of hurt back into idle. We're going to need to make a trigger here, so we'll add a plus or hit plus and add a trigger, and let's just call this hit. This will be the trigger that will fire off in our code whenever our bee is hit. We'll have that trigger be the condition for the transition from idle to hurt. So I hit plus and go find our hit, and then the same from move to hurt. So go find it and hit plus and choose hit. Now if we go into our code, we can hook up our hit trigger and watch the hit animation play. Let's make sure that works before we add in our death. So we'll go into our bee encounter, and right down in our take damage method, we'll tell it to play our hit animation. So I'll say else bee animator dot set trigger hit. Oops, let's get the semicolon in there, do a quick build and test it out. We're back in Unity, and before we hit play, I'm going to crank up the health from 5 to 50 so I can shoot this guy a whole bunch of times. Let's press play and try it. All right, here we are. I've selected the bee and moved the animator window down below so you can see what's going on. Let's watch him do some animation. He goes idle and then does his attack. Oh, I just got hit by some lightning and lightning again. Now he's going to move. I'm going to shoot him a couple times, and he does a transition. Well, it looked like he's trying to do a transition. Let's see. He's going to do another shoot. Let's jump up and blast him a couple more times. So we shoot him, and he does do the transition, but look what's happening with the animations. Now he's got that hit trigger. He's going to go into idle, go into move, and then play hurt. So he's actually waiting quite a while to make those transitions. And I don't want him to go from bee blast into hurt because I don't want to be able to interrupt his blast and have it go into a hurt animation. But I do want the transition from idle and move to be instantaneous. So let's select both of those transitions and uncheck the has exit time so that the transition will happen immediately. Again, it still won't happen if we're in the attack state, but it'll happen immediately other than that. We're now getting an error, and that console error that we saw a moment ago is the cause of this. We've got an animation event that is not running anything, and this happens a lot when you grab animations from other people, so it's important to know how to fix this. All we need to do is go to our animator or our animation window. I'm going to select this bee, go find that new animation that we just hooked up because that's most likely the culprit. It's the hurt animation, and look right here, there's an animation event that has no function on it. We don't need to hook this up to anything. If I drag it over, you'll see that it's for this point when the bee is kind of halfway through the hit. I don't know what I would use that for necessarily, so I'm just going to delete it. Go back into the console, let's stop playing and play one more time, and now I should be able to run over there and have our animations look proper. There we go, we'll run, jump. Blast this bee in a moment once he gets on screen. There we go. Shoot him a couple times. See he's taking hits. Taking hit, taking hit, taking hit, taking hit, taking hit. Keeps taking hits. And there we go, he's dead without ever actually hitting me. Now, how is this happening? Let's take a look at our animator one more time. If we scroll down and look at the transitions here, our idle to attack animation requires the fire condition. Our idle to hurt animation requires the hit condition. So let's see what happens when both of those conditions are set to true. So I've checked them both, and we'll just skip through one frame. Here you see I've clicked and the hit trigger is off, and we've started a transition into hurt B. So why is that happening? Why is this transition happening instead of this one? There are actually two causes to that. The first is very simple, that our has exit time is checked here, so our transition into attack can't happen until after our idle has finished, which means that our hit that doesn't have a has exit time can happen immediately and we'll get priority. So first we can just uncheck has exit time. Let's check both of these again though, because that may not fix our problem. Let's hit play and click them both. If I can click them both fast enough, wait for after the attack and see what happens. If he attacks again, oh, he went into an attack again. Now there is a scenario where he may not attack again. Let's take a look at the animations again. If we select the idle state, you can see here we've got a bunch of transitions, and this shows which transitions take priority. If I move the hurt B up above the attack blast and then check both of these, watch what happens. Now it goes into hurt B first instead of going into fire, and we get that big long wait. So we also need to make sure that our transitions are ordered properly. We'll select the idle state again and just make sure that hurt is probably, actually, I think we want attack all the way up at the top, and then hurt, and then move. That looks like a good set of transitions. All right, now that we've got that set up, let's go back and try it one more time. We'll press play. Remember, we've moved that has exit time from the transition out of attack, and we've rearranged these transitions a little bit. We'll go shoot this B. Let's go blast him. Can't hit him when he's blasting, which is exactly what I expect. Let's blast him again while he's moving. Ooh, did I get him? I am terrible at hitting this B. There we go, got a couple hits in, and now the shots start to go through him once the animation begins, and he's firing back. All right, that's looking good. Before we go any further, let's save our scene and commit our changes. Here we've added the B hurt animation. And well, I just added B hurt animation and check in.